I've built this AI agent that guarantees to make your business money out of thin air. Literally. Free money. It does this by reactivating old leads you had considered dead. Literally going through a huge list of your past unsuccessful leads and booking them into meetings. Here's a demo. So here you can see a list of my old dead leads that I'm going to contact. All of them are going to be contacted automatically. So for that, I'll come here and start the calls. I'll click run once. I should see a phone call coming into my phone right now. You can see a phone call coming in right now. I'll pick up and put it on loudspeaker.
Hello.
Hello, who's this?
Hey Peter, it's Jane from Begrip. How's everything going at Henrose Limited?
Everything is well. What do you want?
Great to hear things are going well, Peter. The reason I'm calling is because we helped Mullenlow Mena, a creative agency similar to Henrose, drastically improve their customer support using an AI chatbot. They boosted their revenue by 50% in just 1 month by solving their exact problem: poor customer support leading to missed opportunities. I was wondering if you might have 57 seconds to hear how we could do something similar for Henrose.
Yeah, sure.
Fantastic. We've got some cool solutions that could help you respond to leads much faster without overloading your team. How about we book a quick 15-minute chat to go over it in more detail? When's a good time for you?
Nah, I'm a bit skeptical in regard to these builds. Like, AI is a bit risky now.
I totally get where you're coming from, Peter. That's why we handle the entire setup for you, so there's no upfront commitment. You get a chance to test it free for 14 days, and you only pay if it actually saves you time and gives you results. How about just a quick 15-minute chat to see if it might be a fit for you? Anytime you're free this week works.
Well, okay, can we do tomorrow at 11 a.m.?
Awesome. You're all set for tomorrow at 11 a.m., Peter. You should see the invite in your inbox shortly. Looking forward to chatting then.
Goodbye. Here in my calendar, you can see the meeting has been booked for tomorrow at 11 a.m. That is on 22nd of July. Then if I go to my spreadsheet here, you can see the status is now that the lead has been called. Then here you can see the record came in that Peter Drury has been booked into a meeting on this specific date, on this specific time. A true game changer. Why is this? It's because most business owners waste their leads by not re-engaging them. They literally pay to get the lead's information, but if the lead doesn't book, they consider it a wasted lead. So you can imagine all those leads seated somewhere gathering dust when you can monetize them as soon as tomorrow. It's literally free money because you have already paid to get the lead's information. You don't have to pay again. It's up to you to close the deal. If you're wondering how you can build such a system, let's jump into it. So to build this voice bot, we're going to be working with 3 platforms. That is Vapi, Make.com, and Google Sheets. So if you don't have an account on Vapi, go ahead and search vapi.ai, create an account, log into your dashboard, then you'll arrive at something of the sort. Now what you want to do is go to the link in the description to access all the resources I'm using in this video completely for free. So that includes the system prompt that is guiding the AI conversation and the 2 Make.com templates that we'll be using within this tutorial. So once you do that, go ahead and click on Create Assistant. Give your assistant a name, something like Lead Reactivator Voicebot 2. Okay, I've already had that name, so I won't name it again that way. Then you'll click on Create Assistant. Okay, so since I already have my assistant in place, I'll just close that and guide you in regard to this. So once you do that, scroll down here till you see System Prompt. Then paste in the system prompt that you've gotten access to. Then we'll continue. So first things first, ensure that you're using GPT-4o as the AI model. I love it because it's powerful enough and fast enough. So we'll move on. In the system prompt, you are Jane, you work for Begrip, and your role is to call old leads that never ended up booking a sales call to convince them to book into a meeting. Here are some details to help you out. So I provide the AI with all the details that he should use as context when trying to convince the user to book into a meeting. So we provide it with the company name, the customer's name, the email, their role in the company, the description of the company, the problems they're experiencing, which is very critical because this is what the AI will use to determine what to say to the user in order to convince them. We want to position our solution as something that's coming to fix the problem they had mentioned they're experiencing. And all this we get from our spreadsheet. So you can see here in our spreadsheet, we have the following columns: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 columns. The name of the customer, their email, their role in the company, their phone number, the name of their company, the description of the company and what they do. For example, this one is Henrose, is a company that does digital marketing services for other companies. Their services include paid ads, SEO, and web development. Then in the problem, which is very critical, Henros is experiencing problems with their customer support. They are not able to respond to leads on time and lose a lot of business as a result. So you could get this when you get the lead through the door, you could be having a form for them to fill out the problem they're experiencing. So they provide their name, email, phone number, and the problem they're experiencing that they need a solution to. Then that is what will be brought into this spreadsheet. And I'll show you how we insert this information dynamically, okay? Then here we provide it saying that here's the current date and time in UTC time zone. So this now variable is an inbuilt variable within VAPI that contains the current date and time in UTC time zone, coordinated universal time. Why we're including it here is because we will need it when we're booking the appointment. So when the user says, Mr. AI, I want to book for tomorrow at 10 a.m., want the AI to be able to tell that tomorrow at 10 a.m. is actually 22nd of July. Very critical. Then here we proceed to tell it, at the very beginning of the call, query the knowledge base to retrieve a relevant success story related to the company's problem. You'll use this success story as a convincing tool. This is very important. So I include this here because the AI at the very beginning needs to retrieve a relevant success story to the customer that's being called. So we have fed it with this specific knowledge base. It's just a PDF document containing a list of success stories. So for example, this, you can see this is the name of the company, the pain point they were experiencing, the solution that we offered them, and the impact of that solution. So we have a couple of those, and the AI will query this PDF to retrieve back a success story that seems relevant to that specific customer that's being called. So it will check whether the pain point here matches the pain point the user is experiencing. Then it will retrieve this as the success story to reference, and we provide it access to that by just scrolling down here under files, click add a new file, then you'll upload the success stories PDF. You can see mine, I've called it dummy success stories because I came up with this using ChatGPT, but principles stand. So I'll move on. In the tasks, you can see reach out to the customer and go back and forth with them, trying to convince them to book into a meeting. Specifics in regard to how it will handle this is here. To handle the conversation, go through the script provided as an example, and that script we provide it down here, which I'll take you through. Okay, so some context about the business is that Big Grip is an AI automation agency that helps its clients to automate their day-to-day tasks by leveraging automation and AI. We get to understand our client companies, including their bottlenecks and pain points hindering their growth. We then build them AI and automation systems to scale their company and save their employee time from repetitive tasks to more high leverage tasks. So now in the examples, this is just a back and forth conversation of how a typical conversation should go. So you here represents the AI, then here this represents the lead. So we'll start with, hi John, Peter from Big Grip here. How's your week treating you over at Ad Solutions Inc? Then the AI should immediately query the knowledge base for a relevant success story. The reason I'm including this here is because when I was doing the test, I could notice it comes up with some fake success story, which we don't want. It needs to call the knowledge base and retrieve a relevant success story. And notice I say it here. I also say it at the beginning over here. Let me just scroll up here. I say it at the beginning over here, and I also mention it at the very bottom over here. Ensure to only give factual information that is within the knowledge base. Do not come up with random figures that you haven't retrieved from querying the knowledge base. Okay, so that is one thing. When you're testing your voice bot and you notice a mistake that keeps on reoccurring, place the cautioning at the beginning of the prompt and at the end of the prompt. It's going to be more impactful because we have this issue called lost in the middle, where when you have a big system prompt, some instructions that are in the middle get neglected. So I won't go through this entire conversation here. You can see it's the same thing that was happening within the demo you saw. But the important part is done here in regard to function calling. Once we've gotten the green light from the user that they want to book into a meeting, the AI should ask them, Mr. User, when would you like to book? Then the user is like, Thursday at 11 a.m. works, send me the invite. Then the AI confirms their email, then proceeds to book the appointment by calling the book appointment tool. So this is critical. You can see it's in capital letters, which ensures you're telling the AI that this is not part of the script, but rather just telling you this is the time to book the appointment. Then here in the notes section, I normally paste in this paragraph in all the AI voice bots I built. I normally call it prompt seasoning. It just makes your AI conversations more natural, more human-like, not robotic. So when generating responses, aim for a casual and conversational tone. Think of how you might talk to a friend in a relaxed setting. Use informal language and common colloquial expressions such as so, yeah, and okay. Avoid formal language and corporate jargon. Instead, focus on making the dialogue flow naturally, using contractions like your instead of you are, and inserting filler words occasionally to mimic natural speech patterns. Strive to make responses sound warm and approachable, using everyday vocabulary and sentence structures. Okay? So paste this in all the voice bots you build and come thank me later as we proceed. So ensure to only give factual information that is within the knowledge base. Do not come up with random figures that you haven't retrieved from querying the knowledge base. Also, do not mention that you're retrieving certain information from the knowledge base, which I noticed it could be like, I call it, then it will be like, give me a moment, Mr. User, I retrieve a relevant success story from the knowledge base. Like, what is that? We don't want that, okay? So once you have that, click publish in place. We can go ahead and create the book appointment tool that will book the user into a meeting. So for that, click on this drop down, create a new tool. Then you'll click on create tool, custom tool. So you'll give your tool a name, etc. So in this case, I'll go just to the tool I had created and we'll go through that. So its name is book appointment. This tool is used to book the user into an appointment. Then the details that are required to book them in is we require the booking time, their name and their email address. Just to show you how that is structured, you can see the booking time is a string. The description is this is the time the user wants to book into an appointment in ISO format, Africa Nairobi time zone, e.g. give it an example there. This is critical is because we want the AI to send the date in the user's time zone. Why is this? It's because we have provided it the current date and time in UTC, and thus it has the capability to know that tomorrow at 10 a.m. is this specific day, this specific time, in this specific user's time zone. It's required, click apply, we move on. Customer name, this is the customer's full name, it's a string, it's required, click apply. The next one is the customer's email, this is the customer's email address, it's a string, required, click apply. Then you will need a URL in order to send this information to book the appointment. This we get from make.com. So what you'll do is go ahead and search make.com. If you don't have an account, sign up, then log in to your dashboard. Once you arrive, you'll arrive at something of the sort. Click on create a new scenario here. Then what you want to do is upload the template that I have provided to you. So the first one being the one to book the appointment. You'll click on these three dots, import blueprint. Then choose file, then you'll import the blueprint that you see over here. First things first is you'll double click on this first module, click on add over here, then click on save. You'll get this address, so you'll copy address to clipboard, go back to VAPI and paste it in there. Then you'll click on save. Then you want to attach this tool to your assistant. For that, click on assistants here, go to your assistant, then click on tools, then click on this drop down and select that specific tool, then click publish. Very critical, never forget to click publish. You'll go through so much hurdles you don't want to go through. So back here to the actual scenario, just to go through it, we get in the information from VAPI, from the AI voice bot, then we proceed over here to save those details accordingly. So we save the customer's name, their email, the time they want to book into variables that can be accessed later on within this scenario. The first things first, we want to check whether that specific time slot they've requested for, if it's available. So for that, this module does that. And what it does is it checks between, let's say, 10 and 10:15 a.m. Is there any event that has been booked in? If there is, it will return a list of those events. And from that is when we're able to determine that this time slot is available. So if it returns a list of events, means that that time slot is not available. But if it returns an empty list, then that time slot is available. So you can see here, we're working with 15-minute time slots. That's why you're seeing that we're checking between the time the user has requested and 15 minutes after that. Click save. Then we continue here. Here we have a router that will follow different paths based on whether the time slot is available. So if the time slot is available, we'll proceed with the first route and book them into a meeting. But if they're not available, we proceed with the second route over here that will give them alternative time slots. So for that, we have a filter in place. You can see we have given it a label and we're checking this specific variable called the busy variable to check whether its length is 0. If the length of the list is 0, or rather the length of the array. If it is, then we proceed to book them into a meeting just by creating an event over on our Google Calendar. You can see the name of the event is booking of this specific customer, and their email is that. Then the time is that, and the end time is 15 minutes after that. Then we need to add a row on Google Sheets showing that this lead has been booked into an appointment. Within the same spreadsheet of old dead leads, we have a sheet called booked appointments, as you saw in the demo. You can see we just pass in the details there, the name of the customer, their email, and the time for their appointment. Then we proceed to send back a response to VAPI telling it that great, your appointment has been booked. Then we move on. In the second route, if the time slot is not available, you can see here, I'll click on the filter itself. We're checking if this busy array is greater than 0, meaning that there is a meeting that, or rather an event that's been booked in that time slot. So first things first is we want to get the beginning of the day. Okay, so we want to check between the beginning of the day, which is 12 midnight, till the end of the day, which is 12 midnight. Are there any booked in events, so that we can get back a list of those? That's why we need the beginning of the day. For that, we're having this tool that does that. Then we move on here. The next module checks through that day to get back a list of all the booked in events. You can see the minimum time is at the beginning of the day, which you can see is 0000 12 midnight. Then you can see maximum time is 24 hours after that. That's why we're using this function of adding hours. Then you go ahead and select the calendar itself, then click on save. Then here we just want to convert the specific JSON object containing the booked in events. We want to change it into a string so that you can feed it into the AI for it to suggest alternative time slots. Because the reality is, this is an object, a JSON object. We can't feed it into the AI module that is coming after this because it's an object. So this module transforms it into a string. Then we have this next module that converts those time slots into East African time zone. In that case, you just convert it into your time zone. If you live in Australia, Melbourne, you'll have it as Australia/Melbourne. That is your time zone. If you live in Los Angeles, you'll have yours as America/Los Angeles. So your role is to convert the provided times from UTC to East Africa time zone, which is 3 hours ahead of UTC. Please only output. Did I say please output? Oh my days. Please only output the converted times. Do not output any notes or text. Then we move on over here. We provide it with the time slots themselves. Then we move on. Once we do that, let me ensure I click save. Then we move on over here. This one finds alternative times. So your role is to only output the close alternative times that the user can book in for. Do not output any notes or text. You must output this in JSON form. So here in the user prompt, we provide it with the details. So please recommend 3 alternative 15-minute time slots. Here are all the times in the day that are not available. You must not recommend any times within these booked slots. We provide that in place. Here's the time they tried to book in for, but this time was not available. We provide it there. Try and recommend times that are close to the initial booking time. This is the current time. You must ensure it is not earlier than this. Provide it that. In the user's time zone, please recommend 3 times in that would be available for booking. Please output the times as you're speaking to a person. You must ensure the time slots recommended are available. Please refer to the unavailable times. Very critical. Then the next one here is you come up with the message that will be sent back to the AI. A human-like message, something like, Mr. User, you said 10 a.m., but 10 a.m. is booked. We have alternative time slots at 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Which one works for you? We want such a statement. A user has just been recommended time. Is that English? A user has just been recommended time slots that they can book in for. Please tell the user very simply in a few sentences what times these time slots are. Here's the recommendation and here's an example output. So, unfortunately, your chosen time slot was booked out. We can, however, book you into these 3 close alternative times: 9 a.m. to 9:15, 10 a.m. to 10:15, or 10:15 to 10:30 a.m. Let me know which suits you best. And this was sent back to the AI. If I see this webhook response, you can see we send over the message as is, and we ensure to specify the ID of that specific tool call. And yeah, now that's in regard to that specific scenario. But we also have this scenario that actually goes ahead to call all the phone numbers that are within our spreadsheet. Because remember here, we have this specific sheet. It has a list of old leads that were considered dead, their phone numbers, and the status. Okay, so now all these have been called, but in reality they would be not called over here. So I'll just switch this back to being not called, and this is what determines whether this lead is called or not. So what you want to do is go ahead and create a new scenario just as you did initially and import blueprint. So you just click on the three dots once again, import blueprint, then import this blueprint over. How this blueprint is meant to be running is we would turn this on, then every 15 minutes it checks to see if there's any lead that has its status as not called that we need to call. So we have the first module that just searches through our Google Sheets to bring back a list of leads that need to be called that haven't been called yet. So I'll click on it. You're able to see, I think I didn't mention this, but just ensure you connect to your Google account. For that, if you need help on that, click on online help. It's quite simple. Then you're good to go. Select the spreadsheet you want to work with, the name of that specific sheet name. Then the filter we want is where column H, which is this one, status, is equal to not called. That's the case, we return those details, then we move on. The next module over here is we just initialize some key variables that we're going to be working with. One is the ID of the AI assistant that will make the phone call, then the API key to our VAPI account, then the phone number ID that we will use to initiate the phone call. So for this, come back here to your assistant, click copy over here, copy assistant ID, come paste it in here. Then the API key, you scroll down here on the left, you'll see VAPI API keys, click on it, then you can see your API keys here. Click copy ID over here to copy your private API key, go back and paste it in there. Then the phone number ID, you come back here to VAPI, click on phone numbers at the left over here. Then you want to add your phone number. In this case, we are working with a Twilio phone number. So for that, you'll click create phone number, import from Twilio, then you'll pass in your Twilio credentials. So for this, I'll go to my Twilio console, which if you don't have an account on Twilio, go ahead and create an account. Then you want to obtain your phone number. Ahoy Mutiso, welcome to Twilio. But yeah, you log into your dashboard, then you'll arrive at something of the sort. What you want to do is click copy on your account SID, come paste it in there, then your auth token, paste it in there, then your Twilio phone number, copy on that, come paste it in there, give it a label, something like my Twilio phone 1, doesn't matter. Then you'll click on import from Twilio. Then you'll see it over here, click copy on this phone number ID, then come back and paste it in there. Click on save, then we move on here. Now here we want to retrieve the specific AI assistant that will initiate the phone call. So for this, we are calling VAPI's API. That's why you're seeing we're passing the specific assistant ID so that we can get its configurations. Pass in your VAPI API key, then you're good to go. Here we obtain the dynamic assistant. Then now we want to insert the dynamic variables we had stated within the system prompt. If you remember here, if I go to the assistant system prompt, you can see there are some dynamic variables that need to be passed in before engaging with the customer, and they are encapsulated by 2 curly braces. So this is very critical. So here we specify the specific tags and their respective value. So if the name of the variable is company name, we insert its value there. If the name of the variable is customer name, we insert its value there accordingly, and we get that over here. So over on company name, you get that from the spreadsheet module that searches for the spreadsheet rows. Insert the name over there, their email in accordingly, their role, their description of the company and the problem they're experiencing. Click save. We obtain the dynamic assistant. We now need to insert the dynamic variables into the assistant itself. So how we do this is we search through the string containing the dynamic assistant. And how we do this is, first of all, we get the assistant that we have retrieved from VAPI. We saved it into a variable called dynamic assistant. We want to convert it into a string first so that we can replace its values accordingly. So once we convert the assistant into a string, we're able to search through the entire system prompt. Okay? So we'll search through the system prompt and find, is there a tag that is encapsulated with 2 curly braces? If there is, replace it with its actual value. Okay, so we search through and see, is there a tag encapsulated with 2 curly braces? If so, replace it with its value. Then here we aggregate all those results into one dynamic assistant that we are going to initiate a phone call with. Then we obtain the dynamic assistant once again. It was a string. We now need to convert it into a JSON object that we can access its configurations. Then next here, we whitelist the specific parameters that we need to work with, because there are so many parameters that are brought back when you call the API endpoint that retrieves the AI assistant. There are so many of those parameters that we get back. You can see all of them over here, but we don't need all of them. So we whitelist the ones we need to work with to initiate the phone call. Then we transform it back into a JSON string, then initiate the phone call. So here we pass in the API key of our VAPI account, pass in the phone number ID, the number that's being called, the name of the customer, and the assistant itself that is going to handle the conversation. Then we move on over here. Finally, we update the Google Sheets row to show that this lead has been contacted. For that, we just obtain that specific row number. So when we called the first module that obtains the Google Sheet rows, we get back the row number. So that specific row number is what we are updating. We get that over here. If I scroll down, you can see the row number over there. And we want to update only one specific column, which is the status. We want to switch it to being called, not called. Okay, very critical. Click save, then we continue. And yeah, that's it. That's how you're able to build an AI assistant that makes you money out of thin air. Where's my money? Money out of thin air. Why is this very important? Is because highly likelihood is that you have a huge list of leads that didn't work out. Leads that you paid Mark Zuckerberg or Meta ads or TikTok ads or Facebook ads to get their information, but they didn't end up booking into a meeting. They fell through the cracks. You can re-engage them and get them to book back into a meeting so that you can close the deal. It's very critical, because maybe at that time it wasn't urgent and now it is urgent, or maybe that time they didn't have the budget and now they have the budget. Like, re-engaging them ensures that 100% you will get some booked-in meetings. So if you want to work with our team to build such a powerful AI system, then there's a link in the description, booking a meeting with us. And that's it from me. Till next time, stay savvy. Peace.